Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to get straight into how to claim your tax back for 2022. So this is also known as your income tax return, and basically every employee in Ireland should be doing this every single year. So there are 3 reasons that I like to think are the most important reasons that you should be doing your income tax return every single year. So number 1, you shouldn't always rely on your payroll department where you work to make sure that your tax is paid correctly. Sometimes tax gets overpaid or underpaid sometimes, so it's up to you to make sure that you balance everything out at the year end. Number 2, your medical expenses. Now, I totally understand that some people may have a lot more medical expenses than others, but the basic ones, for example, your GP visits, getting a prescription, IVF is a huge one that's coming up an awful lot with a lot of my followers. You can get 20% back on the cost of your medical expenses once they fall under the list that's on the revenue website, and I have loads of information about that on my Instagram page. We overpay tax all the time in Ireland, and that is literally sitting there waiting for you to claim it back. It's up to you to do it. Finally, number 3, the most important reason is if you are working more than one job throughout the year, or perhaps you've finished one job and you've changed to a new job, it's up to you to make sure that all your tax and income are balanced up at the end of the year. So because if you were changing a job, the tax credits take a bit of time to change over to the new one, and it just gets a bit messy, and sometimes you might have been put on emergency tax where you're paying nearly half your wages in tax. So it's up to you to claim that back. Doing your income tax return will clean everything up for the year. I can't express how important it is for everybody to do it. Please keep in mind that you can only claim tax back if you pay tax. So for example, what happens is a lot of people who may have been on a social welfare payment throughout the year, they may not realise that those payments are taxable. The majority of them are taxable, and you will owe tax on those. For example, maternity leave, maternity benefit is taxable, illness benefit, and the job seekers allowance, a lot of those are taxable. So for example, if you were on those for a portion of the year and then you return to work, revenue will already have started to collect tax on those. So when it comes to the year end and you log in, like we're going to do in a few minutes, you see an underpayment of tax, that means you owe tax. Don't panic, revenue will not come knocking on your door. They have a way of collecting that without you even realising it sometimes. So there will be underpayments, people will owe tax in certain situations, but my goal here is to make sure that you reduce that as much as possible. So the format for this is I'm going to jump straight onto my computer and I'll do a screen share of all the steps that you need to do. It shouldn't take you more than 10 minutes because I will be going through all of the things that I will be claiming and putting through on mine. But everyone is going to be different. You may not have the things that I have. So I'll do my one and show you the steps. As always, I always recommend that you upload all of your receipts before you dive into these steps because it will be a lot quicker. So for people who have uploaded medical expenses throughout the year, you may have already been claiming your relief on those, which is great because revenue will apply them straight away to your account. But if you're waiting, if you've left everything till the year end to do it and you want to upload all your receipts now, I recommend doing all of that first, getting all your receipts uploaded using the receipts tracker. And I will actually put a link to an earlier video that I did for claiming your medical expenses. I will link it below because if you've never done it before, I will show you those steps in that video. You would also be including there your working from home, your electricity bills, Wi-Fi, all of that, etc. So once you've all of those uploaded, you can dive straight into your income tax return. So the first thing you're going to do is go to revenue.ie and then click on my account up top. Here you are going to be asked to sign in, so please go and do that. And then if you've never signed in before, you will need to register, and that will take a couple of days just to get a code sent out to your house, but then you will be good to go. This brings you to your dashboard, and on the left hand side under PAYE services, you're going to go and click on Review Your Tax 2019 to 2022. So in this section, you are brought to your options of which year you want to complete. So the default coming up is 2022, which is the most current year, but you have options here to look at the last 4 years, 2019 to 2022. So if you've never done this before, I highly recommend going back and starting with 2019 and work your way forward, because you may have tax there that you can claim back. So for now, we'll focus on 2022. And next to statement of liability, you're going to see here, you're going to click on request. And if you have perhaps started this already, you might have an option to edit here, or another option may be amend. So whatever option you have available there, you're going to click on that. You will then be brought to your preliminary end of year statement, which is also called your statement of liability. And this straight away is telling you you have an underpayment of €37.85. So that's for me personally. That means I owe €37 in tax. And it tells you further down here the breakdown of that. Some of it might be USC, some is income tax, PAYE, but I just can't show the bottom because you're going to see other details of my income, etc. So you can understand that I'll be keeping a lot of this private too. At the bottom of this page though, there is the big blue button to say complete income tax return. This is what you're going to click. And this is what it looks like. Complete your income tax return. This is what you want to do. And I also call this your tax back steps. So this is the first notice that comes up. You're just going to click on OK there. Scroll down to the bottom and click on start. Okay, so this is section number 1, and it's your personal details, and this is going to list all of your personal information. Your PPS number is going to be here, your date of birth, and then there's a lot of other information further down, for example your postal address, and most importantly at the very end of this page you're going to see your bank information. This is really important to make sure that is kept up to date, because that is how they are going to send you your tax refunds. So another thing to note on this page, very important, if your marital status changed during the year and you would like to become jointly assessed with your partner, you will be putting that information in there. They will ask for, did your marital status change during the year, yes or no, and then if it did, you're going to enter your partner's information there. I do get asked an awful lot about being jointly assessed on my Instagram page, and as a very general rule of thumb, if one of you earns 40,000 or more in the year and the other person earns under 40,000, it is in your best interest to be jointly assessed, because you guys can share your tax credits as one combined individual. So if both of you are earning over 40,000, it won't make much of a difference, but there are no disadvantages to being jointly assessed. Section 2 is going to be your current employment, or perhaps maybe you had multiple employments throughout the year. So this is where you are a PAYE taxpayer. So you could see here that I have one employment listed for myself, and it is covered just for data protection. And basically it's going to tell you your total salary that you earned, your total income you earned from that employment throughout the year. It'll be listed below here. You do not need to do anything in this section. You're just going to click on next on the bottom right hand corner. Section 3 then is your non-PAYE income, and this is for anybody who earns an additional income on top of their regular PAYE income throughout the year. So for example, I get asked an awful lot from teachers, particularly if they're doing grinds. How do they declare that income? If they want to declare it, well, they should be anyway, but this is how you're going to do it. And this also applies to anyone else who earns a full-time wage in their PAYE job and then earn a little extra money on the side with their side project. I don't know, whatever it is. So basically scroll down to this other income section, and then pop into trading profit. That's where you're going to put your income that you earned from your part-time or side job. Here you are going to enter the information that they're asking for, but I may do another video on this separately. If anybody wants it, let me know if you want me to go into the exact detail of that. But that's where you will be declaring any of that additional income. Also in section 3 of your non-pay-by income, you're going to see information if you were on any social welfare payment throughout the year. So under this section, Department of Social Protection, you will see a list of all of the DSP social welfare payments, but you do not need to enter any information here. This comes in live from the Department of Social Protection into your revenue account. That's why it's really important to wait a couple of days, a week or so into January, so that revenue can basically catch up and make sure all of the information is up to date, because they need a bit of time after the year end to make sure it's all correct. So if you, for example, have been on job seekers or maternity benefit, that information is going to pop up in here. You will see Department of Social Protection, and then you'll see an amount that you received throughout the year. They have to include that because this income is taxable, so it all has to be taken into account, and that's revenue's way of making sure they keep on top of it as well. So you should never have to edit this information here. It all comes in live from the Department of Social Protection. If you notice that that figure that's coming up is definitely wrong, you need to get back in touch with the Department of Social Protection to make sure that they're sending the correct information through to revenue. It is your responsibility to make sure that that figure is correct. Finally, we are in section 4, which is my favorite, the tax credits and reliefs, and this is where you're going to claim any additional tax credits that you're entitled to. So let's dive straight in and we will have a look at it. So this section, you're going to have health, you and your family, your job, other credits. Down at the bottom, you should have the existing tax credits that you will already have claimed throughout the year. So for me, you can see personal tax credit and the employee tax credit. They're standard for every employee. You will see both of those listed. Then the health expenses are additional credits that I claimed during the year, along with my income continuance. So if there was, for example, other medical expenses that I need to claim, they need to be added in here. So I've only a couple included, etc. And it actually tells you up here, you have receipts saved in the receipts tracker that may help you complete. So that just tells you that you've already uploaded the receipts, which I have said at the start of this video to make sure you've done that already. It'll just be a lot quicker. So the first thing I'm going to look at is the medical expenses, and if you haven't already selected it or claimed, you will have to go into health up here and you will see it listed here as well. You'll see health expenses up here, and you're just going to select click on select. But for now, because I've already been claiming them, I'm just going to click on edit. So when you click on edit, you're going to be brought to this section for your medical expenses, and this part I just want to be 100% clear on. So at the moment you can see that I have claimed €250 worth of health expenses, and they've already gone through my revenue. So basically they have applied to my tax credits and I got the relief throughout the year so far. So come year end, it's January 2023 now, and I'm looking at my health expenses and I've realised that I've had a couple more receipts that I forgot to upload during the year, and I've uploaded them using the receipts tracker today. So now my grand total comes to $421.20. So it's my job now to claim what I've not claimed so far. So the €250 I've claimed so far of this amount, which leaves me with $171.20 left. So you need to round up or down. So we're going to go very round down to 171. That's all you need to do there. And then if you scroll down, they have made the grand total for me, 421, they've rounded it down. So we're good to go there and click on update. I'm cautious that not every tax credit is going to apply to everybody, so I'm just going to fly through the most common ones, and the most common was the medical there, and one that is coming up for 2022 that everybody's asking about is the renter's tax credit. So you're going to pop into you and your family and scroll down, you're going to see rent tax credit. It was applicable from the start of 2022, so you will not be able to claim this tax credit unless you complete your income tax return. So that's really important to tell your friends that if it applies to them, they need to do these steps to claim it. Click on select. So in here, it actually tells you what it applies to. So the budget 2023 announced the introduction of the rent tax credit, and it's available for 2022 to 2025 years inclusive. So it doesn't apply to me, but I'm going to pop through as many of the steps as I can to show you, but we'll go ahead and try. So who are you claiming for? Let's say it's for myself, I'm renting. Next. Then, are you in receipt of any other state housing support? Let's say no. I confirm the landlord is not a government minister or commissioner of public works who owns the property in official capacity. Sorry, I should have said yes there. So yeah, let's go next. PPS of the tenant, that's me, so I'll pop my PPS number in there. Is the property RTB registered property? I'm sure that's going to be a question for your landlord, but let's just say they are, yes. You're going to need that number, pop that in there. Are you related to the landlord? No. Is your property your PPR? This is your principal private residence. So if you actually look at the drop down, it tells you what that is. And if this is your main residence, your house or apartment which you occupy as your only or main residence, we're going to say yes in this situation. In this situation, I'm just going to assume I'm somebody that's renting in Dublin, for example. So is the property used for work or study? Occasionally I work from home, so yes. The start of your tenancy, estimated date, end date, you can pop that in there. Let's just make it up. For example, let's say I was renting from January 2022 to December of 2022, let's say. December 22. Okay. Duration of your lease, 11 months, 22 days. That's pretty cool. It calculates it for you. So then you're going to put in the address of the property. I'm not sure will it let me forward here. Next. So I just made up an address for the last section there. So the next part is landlord's agent's details. So you're going to need the landlord's home address. Are they non-resident? No. You're going to need their PPS number. Yeah, you can see that there's quite a lot of detail that they're asking for. So this is the final section, section 5, and the name of the person or agent rent has been paid to. I'm just going to pop in a fake name there. And then the gross relief due. It's not very clear here what they're asking for, but all you need to do is calculate the amount of rent that you paid for the year of 2022. So for example, if you paid €800 of rent throughout the year of 2022, perhaps you only started renting towards the end of the year or just paid a low amount of rent, you would be entering €800 there. And it will calculate 20% of your €800, and that's the tax credit that you are allowed in this situation. If you paid over $2,500 in rent, so for example, you calculated the rent you paid for 2022 and it comes to €7,000 for the year. It is going to cap you, so you are not allowed to claim over $2,500. This is obviously because they put a limit on it. So the most that you can claim is $2,500 here, so that's all you're going to put into that box, and then it automatically calculates your tax credit. The 20% of $2,500 is your €500. And if you're somebody who has all of their tax up to date and they weren't on any social welfare benefits, social welfare payments, for example, and they don't owe tax for any other reason, you should be getting this €500 back into your bank account. But if you owe tax for any other reason, they will use this against any tax that you owe. So it is definitely worth claiming if you are eligible. Click on Add. So you'll know that it's sorted when you go back to this section in section 4, and you'll see it listed below here. It's coming up. But for now, I'm just going to delete that because it doesn't apply to me. But I hope that helps people who are renting, or if you have a child in college, you can claim this as well. Finally, I'm just going to briefly run through the other major items that always come up every year that people should be claiming if they apply to you. So for example, if you click into your job and your family in here, you're going to see the rent room relief. That comes up a lot, and the tuition fees. This is a major one. A lot of people ask me about that. That's where you're going to enter your tuition fees if you've paid for a third level course over the last year. And we're going to scroll down to your job. the flat rate expenses in here, that's major. That's anyone particularly working in the cosmetic industry, hair, beauty, hospitality industry. Teaching is a huge one. There's always there's a large flat rate expense that you can claim there. This is basically to cover any tools or uniform you need to provide, or you may need to provide yourself with completing your job. So look in there, you might find an industry that applies to you, but there's hundreds and there's always something that might apply to you. So definitely worth checking that out. Again, in here, remote working relief, if you're working from home, that's where you're going to claim that relief. You'll need to have all of your expenses, your receipts uploaded for that as well. So definitely worth claiming the relief there. Anything to bring your tax liability down. So I will leave it at there for now. Just one other one, the PRSA. This is if you have set up a pension privately. So this is for people who went out of their way to set up their own private pension, and you need to claim your tax relief on that because it's not automatically done for you. If you see that you are paying into a pension on your payslip, you do not need to do anything. That is already sorted for you. So a lot of people in public sector employments, and that's already sorted for them. It's a lot of people who are working in the private sector and they get a private pension set up. They need to claim the relief for themselves. So once we're finished in this section, we're just going to click on confirm all down here, and then you're going to click on next. This is going to bring you to the final section, section 5 of your income tax return. You're going to scroll down to the bottom of that page, tick this box, and click on next. You will be asked to sign in again, and you are finished. You have your income tax return complete for 2022. In a couple of days, Revenue will send you an email that you have a new correspondence from Revenue. You're going to log into your account, your My Account again. You are going to click on My Documents up here, and there should be a little yellow icon to say that there's a new document available for you. You're going to click in here, and then you're going to go to 2022, the year you just did, and there should be a new statement of liability. I'll just show you what it might come up as. So 2021, you'll see it, statement of liability. That's what it's going to be called. And on that document, you will see if you have a refund that is due to you. So I've just opened up an older one that I've had where there is an overpayment. An overpayment means you are due tax back. So in this situation, you'll see halfway down the first page, 179.10 for me. Treatment of result, that means a payment of 179 will be made to my bank account. That happens in 3 to 4 working days. It will be sent to your bank account. So that happens in the situation where there's an overpayment. If there's an underpayment here next to final result, it means you owe tax. And then under treatment of results, it will tell you how Revenue plan on collecting that. Normally it will be over 4 years. So if you see that for the year 2022, the income tax return that you've just done, they will be collecting that over the years 2023 to 2026. So 23, 24, 25, 26. Yeah, so 4 years they'll be collecting that. And it's actually going to tell you exactly here how they plan on collecting it. They'll divide this by 4, and then they'll collect it over those few years by reducing your tax credits. Some people may not even notice them collecting it because your net pay that you get paid on your payroll every week or fortnightly or monthly, it'll be slightly reduced, but you may not even notice it. But some people like to know what's going on as well, and they may start asking questions, but that is normally what happens if you have an underpayment of tax. If you're someone like me that you know that you owe tax, or you may want to clear it early, I will show you how to do that. So just say it came back that you owe €100 of tax to Revenue. If you don't want to pay it back over the next 4 years, what you can do is actually clear it yourself if you want. If you go to your dashboard and scroll down to payments and repayments, click on make a payment. In here, they will ask you what type of tax you want to pay, and in this situation you are paying tax, and you're going to click on next, and then you're paying the PAYE employee tax, so add payment. In there you're going to select the year applicable, 2022, and enter the amount of €100. Make payment, and then they will ask you for banking information, and they will collect that from you and knock it off the tax that you owe. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope it was easy enough to follow. But once you learn how to do it, you should be able to do this in the future, no problem. If you have any questions at all, pop them in the comments below and I will do my best to get back to you, or else on my Instagram, pop me a DM there. That's the best place to get me the quickest. Sometimes there's initially just a lot of fear to log into your revenue account, and I totally understand that, but sometimes once you just go in, it's not as bad as it seems. And if you are someone who logs in and you see that you owe a lot of tax, please don't panic. We will figure it out, and I hope that by doing the steps you've figured out some ways that you can reduce it. Please also remember to like this video and subscribe to my channel, because it's your support that keeps me motivated on creating these videos and showing you how to get your tax back and how to understand your pay slips. So I really appreciate the support, and we'll see you in the next video.